Hey everybody, it's Friday and I hope you're having a good I hope you had a good week and I hope you had some opportunity here to sort of get caught up. My guess is we have about two or so assignments left. There might be three, but I think it's more like two. You guys are all doing great and you're staying pretty much caught up with everything. So please keep up the good work and let's just finish out the semester strong. So today we're going to do some interior work. Specifically, we're going to lay out the casework or cabinetry, otherwise known as casework in our industry, for a kitchenette area in my office design, and we're going to lay out some other furniture. So really, think of this as we're going to lay out two spaces. One sort of kitchen area or an area that has, say, cabinetry of some kind. You might have many areas in your project that would count as this. At least that's what you're maybe thinking, hopefully. Um, you can just pick one and work along with me, and that way you'll be kind of learning it and doing your assignment at the same time. So we're going to lay out one little kitchenette area, and then we're going to do an office area, or at least part of it. And then we're going to put call outs for both of those areas on the floor plan. And I'll explain later what a call out is. I just want to give you the 30,000 foot overview. And then we'll also do interior elevations for those areas where they're needed. So let's go into my project here. And any families that I'm using in here, I will supply in the lecture here, so that you have it right when you're doing the lecture, not when you're going to the assignment. So you can again work along with me. Okay, so let me go to level one floor plan. I'm going to close all other views just so I'm not confused. So in my project, some areas that have cabinetry that we could talk about. In the open office area, I have this little nook on both levels that's sort of a space for, um, you know, a countertop, a coffee maker, an espresso machine, a cappuccino machine, whatever. Could also be an area for printers if it wasn't for a more kitchen area. It could be like a couple printers that sit on the floor, say, for example, and then some cabinetry to support the printer area. It could be that or a kitchenette. Whatever you prefer, if you could find some area in your office that could reflect a use like that, that would be perfect. This is one in mine. This is one over here. So, sort of feeding both sides of the office, the open office. In the conference room, I also kind of called out these little areas that I was thinking would be good for a countertop where you could place bagels and a coffee machine or just coffee that's sort of catered, something like that. This is also an area down here by the lobby, so maybe there's some actual, like, a really nice credenza built-in cabinetry on this wall here that would probably also have the logo of the company or something like that. The kitchen back here, that would be perfect. So my thought for this area was simply that somebody is coming to check out the firm. They meet at the front desk, some sort of receptionist, and then they go in the waiting space in that cool two-story area I have over here. And in the meantime, maybe the person that's greeting them could grab some coffee, some refreshments, bring it to them, and sort of keep them entertained until their soul gets crushed when they learn the price of their architecture project. Just kidding. And then maybe this area again could be a kitchenette area in these serving these conference rooms. So I'm going to go and I'm going to work on this area. So the kitchenette area, the open office area, these would be two great spots to focus on. So if I were doing this assignment, I am going to put furniture in this open office area, and then I'm going to handle the casework here. For you, it could be maybe you're going to do the furniture in this office and the casework. Either way, we have to pick two spots. So let's get at it. So this is going to be the area that is little nook that's sort of going to house the cabinetry. So the first thing I want to do is make a nice three-dimensional section so that I can see what the heck is going on there, in addition to what's going on there in plan. So I'm going to go to View, Section, and I'm just going to make a new section just for the purposes of what I'm doing for this assignment. And then I'll delete the section when I'm done designing. So I made a section, and I'm just going to bring that toggle back so I don't see so deeply into the project. And because I really just need to see this area. All right. So I have my section made. I'm going to go to a default 3D view. Here it is. I already had one set up. And I'm going to right click on the view cube, and I'm going to say orient to view. So I right click, orient to view, sections, section 1, because that's the one I just made. I can tell it's the one I just made because I didn't name it yet, so it just says section 1. Okay, and there we are. So it already cut it out for us exactly where we want it. Looks like I'm getting the corner of some other wall over here. Let's take a look. Yeah, looks like right this little guy. So I'm just going to move that in. Maybe I'll move that one in, and let's check the 3D. Well, we can always do this. We can... I hit the little light bulb down here. Here's my section box for that area, and I'm just going to bring it forward a little bit. That looks good. And then I'm going to turn the light bulb again, and there we go. So there is my little piece I'm working on. So I'm going to work on the kitchenette design down here. And then when we're done, we can just copy it up to the next level if we so choose. And I'll show you how to do that too. Hopefully I won't forget. Okay, so I'm going to just get a good view in here. So when I switch back to this, I can see what changes I've made. I'm going to change my graphic display options a little bit. I just want to put on ambient shadows. That looks good. If you put on cast shadows, you can see it just kind of blinds the whole thing. But you could move it around. Let me just show you. Let's try one of these. I'm just going to kind of, yeah. Let's try. I went the wrong way on that one. This is what happens when you get into things. A little better. I'll leave it on. So I was just messing around with the shadow there and where the sun is, where the light source rather is, and how it casts a shadow. Inside a building, you would never see a shadow like this because our building wouldn't be cut here like magically like Revit does. So that's me just getting picky. But anyway, here's the area. I'm going to go back to the floor plan. Now with this project, like I said, I'm going to give you a bunch of families. So the first thing we're going to do is load those. And let me show you those. Let me just reduce the size of this. There's Yoda. So I'll have 2 folders for you. I might just move this. Sorry. Get rid of that one. I might move this content right into here so you only have 1 folder to upload. But in interior design, you can see there's quite a bit here. So what I'm going to do is just grab the first one, scroll all the way down to the bottom one. So they're all selected. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm just showing you in a folder here. I actually have to go into Revit here. All right, let's go up to Insert, Load Family. All right, I'm going to go to my desktop where I save that file. And I am going to just grab the top one. See, we have things like base cabinet. You can see a little preview over here. And I'll scroll down to the bottom one. Looks like there's toilets and urinals, all kinds of things in here. So they're all selected. I'm going to hit open. So now it's sort of going through and loading each one. And it's going to give me a little warning here. I bet you any money about one of the families. And we can just all agree to do kind of the technique that I'm going to do. Let's see. Yep, still loading. Oh, here we go. You are trying to load the family desk, which already exists in the project. What do you want to do? I'll say overwrite the existing. So that's fine. There might be more complex ones coming up. Let's see. It's just going through all those. Okay, here we go. You're trying to load shared task arms from family table conference 2 with chairs, which already exist in the project. What do you want to do? I'm just going to say the first one, and I'm going to check the bottom and grab the first one again. So hopefully that warning won't, well, it still wants to come up. I'm just going to do the same thing. Okay, I think we're set. So all those families have been loaded. And just to point something out to you, and I did this in the last video, under families here, these are all the families currently located in the project. So if I say clicked on doors, these are only the 2 doors that are in this project, a curtain wall double glass door and a single flush, like the door you've seen all throughout this project. For generic models, looks like there's some things in there. Furniture, we have a lot more things in here. So when in doubt, when you're trying to figure out, hey, what the heck is in this project? What families have I already loaded in? In your project browser, you can always go down to that family section and see what exactly is in your file that you currently have open. Okay, so we're set to start now on laying this out. I've got a nice 3D view, so we can switch back and see what we're doing from plan to 3D. So the first thing I want to do is place a cabinet that's going to have a sink. So in this case, this is going to be a sort of a kitchen-y area for me. So in order to use any of those families we loaded, the tool we actually go to, and this is a little not intuitive, is component. So we loaded a bunch of stuff like furniture, cabinetry. Like there isn't something up here that says furniture or cabinetry like it says wall or window. You'd think it would, but all that stuff is sort of stored in component. Place an element in your building, So we're playing a little dollhouse now. So I'm going to click component, and in my type selector, the first thing it goes to is a toilet, which is funny. But here are all the different things we can choose from at the moment. But this list could get huge depending on how many families you load. So take a look in here, and I'm of course going to give you a bunch of families to load. But you could look here first or whatever. There's all kinds of things in here. Reception desk, admin reception desk, yada, yada, yada. So what I want to do here is grab a base cabinet, double door sink unit. And I'm going to make sure that that's 36 inches wide. So I'm going to grab that one. Now I'm going to move over here. Before I click anything, I'm going to hit spacebar. I'm going to hit spacebar. Now, my guess is, you can keep hitting spacebar, it's going to spin around. My guess is you can see where my cursor is. It's on the back. My guess it's on the back of the actual unit, and the front is to the left. Now I'm just going to place it out here. I know it's in the wrong spot. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape a couple times. If I click on that, these arrows on this side tell me that that's the front. So wherever those arrows are, that's the front. You might need to rotate this thing. You might need to delete it, place it again just by using the space bar to kind of spin it around, however you want to do it. So if I go to the 3D view, you can see what it is. It's a cabinet. Okay, there's no countertop, but it has that little space here, room for a sink to be placed in this container, if you will. So I'm going to just grab this. I'm going to go to the move tool, and I'm going to place that right on the middle of the wall, right about there. Okay, so let's see how much distance we have left. So if I go to my 3D view, I got to figure out how much more distance we have left here to do the rest of the cabinets. And I probably want to put a fridge over here and maybe another cabinet over there to the left of the sink. So I'm going to go to modify and grab my little tape measure here, and I'm just going to measure to this wall. Okay, we have 7'6". So let's do this. I'm going to do a simple calculation. So 7 foot, 7 times 12 is 84 inches, plus 6 is 90 inches. I have 90 inches to play with. Let's say I want to get 4 cabinets in there. Let's see what the heck that does. So 90 divided by 4 would be 22 and a half inch cabinets. Each of them would be 22 and a half inches. So I could maybe do a 22 and a half inch cabinet here. I could do 4 of those here, and then I could have the handles sort of mirror each other on each double. And you'll see what I mean when I kind of get to that point. But let's make our 22 and a half inch cabinet first, because that seems like an awfully weird number. So I'm going to go to architecture. I'm going to go to component, place component, go down my list here. Now, I don't want base cabinet 4 drawers, although actually that's kind of interesting. Let's make a base cabinet 4 drawers. But I'm going to pick the 24 inch. Okay. And before I even click and place it anywhere, I'm going to click edit type. Now I'm in the type properties for this particular base cabinet. And I'm going to go up and hit duplicate. And I'm going to call this one 22.5 inches. Okay. Now, down in my type properties under dimensions for width, instead of 2 feet, I'm going to grab that and put 22.5 inches. So it'll be exactly the width we need. And I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so here's my piece here. I'm going to place it, and I'm going to click on it. And oh, yep, I forgot to flip it around. The front is actually over here. I'm just going to go to my rotate tool and rotate this 90 degrees. Now the front's where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and move this guy to the right location. Right there. See what we got here. There we go. Oh, look at that. That looks lovely. So I'm going to do another cabinet here. That'll just not be the 4 drawers. And then I'll do 2 more cabinets. So for those, I'm going to do architecture component, place component. And I'm going to do base cabinet single door. I'll grab the 24 again. Then I'll go to edit type. And I will duplicate 22.5 inches. I'll change my width on this to 22.5 inches, which is 1 foot 10 and a half, and I'll hit OK. And since the cursor's typically at the back side of it, I'm going to flip this around and get this right in place. And I'm going to do that. Let's see if I can get closer in there. You can try to do it on the first click like I'm doing right now. Oh, look at that. Fits perfectly. I did my calculations correct. And there we go. They're all in there. Okay. Now I'm going to mirror the door. So the handle's over here on this one, and I'll have this handle over here. So it's almost like we have 2 mirrored sets, but this one happens to be drawers. So I wanted this one to flip. So now that handle's over. And I want this one to flip. So sometimes it's nice to select it here in 3D, go to here and flip it. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. My little breakout area is, it's really coming along here. Okay, so now, let's see. I'm going to grab these 2 and I'm going to put them on the other side. But actually, I want these to go first. So I'm just going to mirror these about the sink. And then I'm going to mirror this one about the sink. There we go. And let's check that. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to put a fridge over here. So let's go to component, place component. I believe there's a refrigerator in here. There's some trees, refrigerator. Let's do this nice big one. So here we go. I'm just going to place it here. Okay, the back of it is there. You see when I hover over it, there's that little double line right there. That's telling you that that's the back, and I need to rotate it, and that's how far you actually want it off the wall. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to rotate that 90, and then I'm going to go ahead and move that into place. And you could probably, I'm probably going to move it off this wall at least 2 inches as well. That looks pretty good. Ooh, my little guy is up. Now, if you want, you could fine tune this by um, making this cabinet a little wider. Maybe you want to make them all a little wider so that it eats up some of this room over here. That's just something that you sort of fine tune and work through on a project. Okay, but let's get the countertop on here, and then let's get some uppers as well. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing: architecture component, place component, and then I'm gonna go to, let's see. Well, there's our upper cabinets there. I'm gonna go to, well, if the countertop's not in here, I'm actually gonna check our project here. I'm gonna go to insert, load family, and I'm going to go to the normal library, and under casework right here, there is countertops, and I'll do countertop with sink. Okay. And I will include this in the family. So I'm going to hit open. Okay. And now it's supposedly in the project. I can go down to my families and look under casework, and there's my countertop right here. I'm going to quickly save this into the folder that I'm going to give to you so that you guys aren't missing anything. Countertop with sink, save. Okay, saved in that family or in that folder for you guys, but I already have it in this project. So I'm going to go to architecture, component, countertop with, so there it already is. I'm going to spin it around. I can place it out here if I want to. In fact, I'm going to. Okay, it's clearly in the wrong spot. Floating in space, not good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get this into place. So I'm just going to go to the move tool. And I know that the sink wants to be placed over this. I can already see there's probably an issue here because this is so wide, but I think this is only 36 inches. Let's try this. I'm going to go to my little tool here. Okay, and this is 3'6". So this is going to want at least a 4-foot kind of sink cabinet. So what I'll do is I'll grab this one, go right up to the type selector, and I will change it, base cabinet double door sink unit, to a 48. Okay, it got wider and it doesn't fit, right? So I got to move some things around. So I'm going to move this guy down. And then I'm going to hopefully see if these guys fit, but I might have to put in a different fridge. Let me just move these over here, and then I'm going to move them back. Yeah, fridge is too big. Let's see if we can get a little smaller one. This one looks like it'll fit. Looks real adorable. Here we go. And I'll move that over. Let's see. I have a gap here of 3 5/8. Isn't that? So let's say 3.5. So 1 3/4. I don't know, math, whatever. Okay, so 1.75 inches. So now it's somewhat centered in the gap. Not that small of a fridge. I don't think the team will be upset with it. Okay, now I know that this sink will fit here. So I'm going to go to my align tool, grab the center line of this cabinet, and align it to the center of our countertop there. Align our sink to it, I should say. And now I'm just going to move this straight back to the wall. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this edge and move it all the way down. And I'm going to grab this edge and move it all the way down. Something tells me it's not quite in the corner yet. Let me grab that countertop again. Let's get that right to that corner. There we go. Okay, that looks actually pretty good. Let's go to the 3D view. That looks good. See that? Couple things I want to change. I don't like how this is poking out here, so I'm going to move the wall out a little bit. And then I'll put in my uppers, but that looks pretty good. So let me go to my wall here, and I'm just going to go to my align tool, grab the edge of the countertop and the wall, and now the wall end caps the whole system real nice. And then I think I'll just match the other wall to whatever I have this at. There we go. I don't need this to go out and cover the fridge. Rarely does that really happen, but oh, look at that nice little break space. This is where you go and you just yuck it up with your coworkers. That looks good. Okay, so let's put some uppers on. So what I'm seeing in plan here, just for your references, I'm seeing some dashed marks beneath the countertop. That's why that stuff came in as dashed, because typically that type of cabinetry will have a countertop over it. So this is just sort of letting who's ever looking at these plans know, like, yeah, there's a countertop here, but there's something going on underneath it too. And you should probably look at the interior elevation to really get a good idea of what that's all about. So let's do our uppers: architecture component, place component. And let's see, they're not exactly in order on here. Upper cabinet, double door wall. Now, how big were these? 22 and a half. Okay, so what's 22 and a half times 2? That would be 44, 45. Oh, look, there's a 45. That's weird. That is kind of weird. Now it looks like, hey, you can't place this here. That's because it's looking for a wall to hang on. So if I go by any wall, it's saying, hey, you want this here? Do you want it on this side? Do you want it over here? All right, I want it right here. It doesn't look right, right? I'm just going to place it, and now I'll move it into place. There we go. And now that is centered nicely right over these two cabinets. I'm going to do the same thing over these and then over here. So I'm simply going to grab this, copy it. Yep, that looks good. And then I'm going to copy it one more time. There we go. Let's take a look. So that looks good. So I didn't want to do it over the sink because typically you don't have uppers there. But if you do, maybe they're, some smaller uppers, and maybe we can place those. Let me take a look at what's in the project. So we have their uppers. These are just 24s. Yeah, that's not. Let's see. Oh, that's good for now. You get what I'm saying, though. You might want to check. Let's do one thing before we move on. I'm going to go insert, load family. So I'm in U.S. Imperial Library, Casework, base cabinets, wall cabinets, upper cabinet. Now we can kind of click through. These are corner units. Double door. Filler. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, it's not fine. I got an idea. I'm going to go to architecture component, place component. I'm going to grab an upper cabinet, and I'm going to grab a 48 inch and put it right over the sink. I'm going to get it into place first. Go to 3D. So there, I mean, that's not terrible by any means, but it might be a little tight under there. But let's see if we can change the height of this. So I am going to say edit type, and I'm going to go to duplicate, and I'll just call this one 48 high. Okay, let's try that. And let's check my dimensions. So the depth is 1 foot. That means 1 foot deep from the door, right? So you open it up, you have a foot of depth to work with. The height here is 2'6". All right, so let's make it 1'6". We'll keep it at 4 foot, and we'll keep top of cabinet at 7 foot. Let's hit OK. Okay, not exactly what I wanted, but let's see if we can move this whole thing up. It is kind of what I wanted, but let's see here. There we go. So I just did a simple time. let's say 2 feet. So it's just a little smaller. Hit OK. Okay, and then I just went to align and I grabbed the top of this cabinet and then I moved that one down. So I don't know. Maybe that's not weird. Maybe it's weird. Maybe it should be shorter. But there's some sort of reprieve there for your sort of head because you're kind of looking down always at the sink right there. This is one possible way to do this. Now, I could put some uppers over here as well. I actually could take these and move them over. Well, I'm not sure what the depth, what's left here, and make a small thing up there, or there could be like a microwave up there. So, anyway, so that's sort of laying out interior casework, otherwise known as cabinetry. So, why don't I pause the lecture here? So, this is just the casework one lecture. In the next lecture, we're going to still work on this, and then we'll get started on another area.